Okay, hello. Welcome to the HSC meeting on Tuesday, September 17th, 2024. We've been going for a little while now. My mom was here and Sai and I have been chatting, but we've remembered now to record. So yeah, right. So, happy to share more, about gathering of tribes later, but I think that's, that's the basic rundown. And so just really great. And, a lot of people, interested in holistic systems and, talked about it, a lot. And we had the business, did you know I made business cards?
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
Christine helped design and and write them, and we got a QR code on the back, and
Oh.
to go
Oh,
because
that's so
we did
great
the
that you
first.
had that on the ground, so to speak. Yeah.
It was great to have it on the ground.
Cool.
Yeah, it was great, and had the first version of the new, the new website up there so people could read about it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, I mean, actually, let's just talk. I'd love to talk, with you about right about like moving forward and what kind of fill you in on where we're at, and then see, where you want to, what your ideas are and where you want to, participate. Um, so okay, so the deal is that we, right before well, okay, I filled you in right
Yep.
on with Circle Trust and what's happening there. So, and it was interesting to see, right, like it's also great, to like as far as the cards, okay, it's great to have cards, but it's also these things like, it helps these interactions help refine like what it is, refine your offering and how you're presenting it. Right. And so
Totally. I was thinking about that. You got a lot of elevator pitch practice. A
I
whole
had a
lot.
lot of elevator pitch practice. I know. And I want to, before too long, I want to go over that because like,
Yeah.
there's a lot in the elevator pitch, and so I really want to be like, oh, okay, let's, and that's also something, with the website and, like really refining, what it is and how we're talking about it. So I think there's still plenty to do there. Um, yeah, but it's such great practice. So if I, like for the next version of these, I think, it's interesting because it's like what I'm presenting now, right? Like we're really presenting like two things now. We're not, it's like there's holistic systems, if I was to do it different, like on the back, there'd be like circle trust,
Hmm.
right? Because
Right.
previously we were, so, it was all kind of like one, we weren't really concentrating on like the platform as the products as a separate sort of like thing, as a separate offering. It was like
Right.
holistic systems, and then we're building that, and then right, but like that's it seems like that's changed. And so, there is holistic systems, which is, hey, join our community, and then there is, we have this, there's this product. So, it is sort of like going, there are two separate kind of audiences.
Yep.
Um, yeah, but so, it's almost like Circle Trust then needs a website. Um,
Right.
and yeah, but as far as, right, but, now that I'm thinking about it, right, I'm at this place, this past week where people are interested in what the project is, right? So there were two projects that were there. But if we, as I sort of like come back here and talk this out, and land, we're sort of coming back, at least at this point, primarily to holistic systems,
Mm.
you know, and saying like, okay, that's what I think that's where we're starting, meaning like, okay, so now we're saying like we're finding people to start to jump in and join holistic systems. So what so there's building the platform, which um I don't know if I told you this, but Todd, I don't know if Todd is having a baby in 2 months. He
Okay.
is, right? So he
Yes.
is,
Yeah.
he is like fast, like, you know, rocket speed, wanting to prototype, as much as he
Mhm.
can of the platform. and build as much as possible before that time.
Mm.
Just because, you know, he's going to go into baby mode.
Right.
So it's not that like you know, I'm not going to have my hands on it as well and be, you know, be able to continue. But, you know, the point there is that, you know, a first, you know, version is coming fast.
Yeah.
Um, which is great, which means that we can, and you know, as working on it already with Christine, we can start to onboard people into like membership, you know, at any point.
Mm.
So that's really, I think those are the two main areas. Well, there's three main areas. So number one is like, you know, on onboarding. All right, that's a bad order. Number one is outreach. Right. So outreach, so reaching out to, you know, to folks, to our folks, you know, first and foremost, and then you know, to you know, bring people in. Number two is the onboarding process, right? Which is like member experience, you know, and that turns into kind of the community management.
Yeah.
And then, you know, number three is building, you know, the first version. Um, and yeah, so right. So you know, places right where it seems like your interest and your expertise are, you know, number one, you know, outreach. Yeah, and anything within there. I talked to Zoe, I checked in with her briefly. She's ready to go. She's up for social media, right?
Cool.
Um
Well, the
so
algorithm is not quite in our favor, is it? But supposedly it's coming. That's her report, right? That in this next year, it's like gonna be go time. I mean, we can do something, I guess, but
yeah, I think that, you know, all right, like
well, we
I don't
could
know
leave.
that, you know, from my perspective, like that, you know, I'm looking at it from like the big perspective of, you know, which is generally just like, hey, it's time to put the word out, you know,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
and whether it's on, you know, Instagram or LinkedIn or other places or what, you know,
Yep.
yeah, you know, and email and right in the website, you know, to me, I'm looking at it all as kind of like
All of
one,
it.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah, one piece in whatever way. So, you know, it's like it's you know, sort of Zoe's work to, you know, worry
Yeah.
about the algorithm and what it does or doesn't do.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and so right, so then part of that's within your skill set is looking at, because we want to, you know, like there's plenty we can put up on the HSC website. So, you know, part of that is like looking at you know, at our offering and at the messaging,
Right.
you know, what we're saying. And, you know, there's a lot on this homepage now. And, you know, so I think we need to like either trims the material down, you know, and distill more into its essence, or B, you know, sort of separate it into different areas. So what do we want to have on that?
Right.
Um, you know, is a main piece. And then, you know, number two, for, you know, the onboarding process. And yeah, I think that the plan right now is to sort of get, and we're part of it, you know, is to get at least 10 people, you know, into this alpha group.
Right.
Um, and basically just start onboarding them,
Right.
you know, and refine our onboarding process, right? And as I've been working on with Christine and has been coming more, you know, clear, is that you know, that's a big piece. It feels like it's a, you know, for holistic from a HSC standpoint, it's a huge piece because it's like it's part of the offering. You know, it isn't like on board, you know, this is how to use the tools and go. Like the offering is like part of that. What's your profile? What is your, you know, like how do you work? How do you, and you know, and what's right, because Christine is very interested in, you know, in really like digging in with people into the nitty gritty, you know.
Mm.
And so we, you know, one tool I thought that we had, right, was that we can have different levels of onboarding. You know, we can have like a level 1, 2, or 3, because some people are going to just be like, yeah, let me just get the stuff up there and put in my needs and offerings and get me
Mm.
in, right? And aren't going to want to go through a whole personality sort of like test or or like, how
Mm,
do I work kind of thing, at least maybe from at the beginning, right?
mm,
So it's, having, um, levels of this kind of process that are going to, meet people where they're at. And then
mm,
some people, it's, it can be like a really valuable exploration, to go through.
right.
Um, and then kind of get people, working in, in the platform. That's it. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that just in general? And what are your thoughts on that in as far as like what sparks in you and what do you think is doable and workable?
Yeah. I mean, it all sounds great. I feel like I'm still playing catch up. So everything you tell me, I'm like, okay, cool. Oh, that happened. Okay, great. Like there's movement. It's really nice to hear and just be yeah, just like taking it in, digest, like putting the pieces together. I feel like I'm in that, putting the pieces that I've missed together, getting a picture. Um, but it all sounds great. It sounds like there's been a lot happening. That's very
Yeah.
cool.
And
Yeah.
fast, like happening, yeah, kind of all quickly kind of happening and coming together.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes sense to me, the decisions and the like, what are the priorities now? Like, I totally get that. There's nothing that I'm like, mm, like, wish I was in that conversation. I mean, I do wish I was in the conversations, but it wasn't the right timing, but nothing that feels like problematic, you know. So, so that's cool too. Um, it continues to be something I want to be a part of. It's not like taking a left turn and to be like, I'm a member,
Yeah.
you know. Um, and then as far as my participation, I'm definitely really interested in the like in the presentation, in the writing, and the messaging kind of stuff. That just it's exciting to me and fun, and I love thinking about that. Um, and I definitely feel some like time constraints. I've had a few weekends that are really full. This coming weekend is really full. Uh, in October, I do a huge volunteer thing that's going to take some of my extra time for the first
Hmm.
couple weeks of October.
Yeah.
A local Ashfield Fall Festival,
Yeah.
big volunteer role. So I hear the like need to like there's like a maybe not an urgency, but there's like a momentum to like things happening now and happening kind of quickly. And I don't have an initial like confidence level in how soon I can really get my eyes on things. I want to, and I probably would do it and then stay up too late. Like I would probably get started and then be like, oh my God, I should be asleep, but I'm so wanting to give good feedback and edit this a little more. And so caution,
Yeah.
cautioning oneself.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like that's a long answer to say, like, I'm not sure what can be my commitment like right now, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
an honest
Fine.
picture. Um,
Sounds good.
Kind of reminds me, brings me a little back to the ideas that I've loved about like meetings being a time for meeting, but also a time for working as a possibility, like that this HSC window can be great for getting up to date and decision making and group process, but also when it's right, is there a possibility for this also being a working time?
Yeah.
Collaborative working, or like, okay, I'm going to go and review some of this content and edit or put together something fresh, like a new opening paragraph or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Making a note of that.
Yeah. Um, and what else about what I can do? I continue to be really interested and curious about navigating diversity and equity and points of tension or conflict as they arise, and or preparing for the fact that they will arise in any given
Hmm.
group. And I would hope the goal is not to be like a homogenous group of people who have the same racial and class and cultural background. I mean, that's already not true. There's already some diversity, and how to do that well. I'm not trained in this, but I have an eye towards it, an interest
Yeah,
towards
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be really great. Yeah.
Yeah. So possibilities there that occur to me are, this really in the vein of member experience, I guess, of skill shares, of workshopping things together, of bringing in some quote outside experts who could do like little mini trainings about some of those topics. I have ideas and
Yeah.
I have people in mind potentially. So that's an area that I feel engaged with. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess what I can say is I should really consider a little bit more, like, before I say, oh, I'll do this week, or I'll do that for 2 hours, whatever, like I need to assess a little more with a little more
Yeah.
accuracy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. Well, I took notes on those areas.
Cool.
Yeah, maybe that's the first thing
Yeah.
is for you to assess. And I think that, right, everything you're talking about, I feel like, wants to go into, right, into our, and self-managed and organized, um, operational system, right? Which is like,
Yeah.
essentially you come and you say like, hey, this is a role I want to take on,
Right.
and so you would propose what that role is, right? Whether it's, spending time on the right on, and in an outreach manner, whether,
Right.
time on the presentation and writing, whether that's a role or whether that's like a, just a limited project, or quest
Yeah.
that you take
Right.
on, or
Right.
you say, hey, I'm really interested in kind of in this diversity and, tension, conflict, resolution role, and these are the things that I'd like to do.
Yep.
Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think that, yeah, that'd be great, right? And if you do that, that then creates like the starting, creates a starting model for what that looks like.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Totally. I'm also really into like continuing with like value exchanges, like I haven't done another round recently of looking at like, okay, what are my needs presently? Like, what are my offerings presently? Who
Yeah.
in our network could help me out with XYZ? But I think within the next month or two, I'm probably going to like be in that space again. Like I'll have landed with my website that's happening and I'll be like, okay, now this is what I want to work on. And I'm excited about that. I mean, that's not an operational role, but it's a participation role. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah. No
participation.
doubt. Me too. Well, see,
Yeah.
that's the second thing, which is, and I would say is like, is, number one, which is, you being part of like the alpha group. So I'm gonna assume that I don't want to, I'll just ask now. So, is that something that that you're up for, that you want to sign up for?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you tell me it's 10 hours a week, I have to say no right now. But
Probably
if
everybody would say no if no, I mean, it's, in that,
I'm
I'd
saying
say
yes
no. I'd
without
be
knowing
like,
exactly what I'm committing to.
yeah, well, that's what
It's
that's
specific.
what
Right,
so what we're figuring it out. But it is right, like when that is really the from the user side, right? So
right. Totally.
yeah, because there's the person who's facilitating, that, or the people who are facilitating that in the onboarding, but then there's us as members, which is, hey, we're just going through this, right? So
Right,
ideally that wants to be as, like efficient, and speedy and expedient as possible.
Right.
from that perspective of us going through it as as
Right.
users.
Right.
Yeah. So it's
Totally.
going to be slower now because we're building it as we go,
Right.
but it shouldn't be it shouldn't be, too much, right? Or
Right,
else,
right. Well, it just brings me back to some of the conversations we've had a few months ago about like what are the expectations for members? Like what does participation mean? What does it mean to be
yeah,
an operational member? Like you put in this much value on a regular basis. How do we assess that? Like we had all these questions about
yeah,
what does membership entail? So that's part of why I'm half jokingly saying I'm saying yes, but I don't know what I'm saying yes to. That's because we have a lot of ideas about what that would be.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And I think, right, and folks like us, right, we're going to be, yeah, we're going to be the builders of it and and the users of it,
right, right.
but
Cool.
right, but yeah, and right, and it's not necessary for, everybody in there to be, like the building of it means like, oh, okay, like more sort of input.
Right, right, totally. Okay,
Yeah,
I want to get going in a minute.
yeah.
But I'm also wondering if you want to probably off of the recording, but look at um
Ice
calendars
cream,
with me and see if we want to plan anything.
ice cream wise, you mean?
Ice cream, hanging
Or,
out,
oh
looking at
yeah.
stuff, whatever, the whole thing. Yes.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. All right, I'm gonna,
Not that I'm private about it, just man, everybody needs to listen to my calendar.
yeah, everybody, yeah, yeah, that's riveting,
Just
it's riveting viewing. Listening to other people make,
go through their busy day.
yeah, all right.